pony. Damn it, that fall messed with my transformations. Okay, turn back. And now I'm an inkling. Go back. I said back, not cat. Wrong light. Am I back to normal?
Yes, you are. How was the fall?
You are never allowed to use my son to make portals ever again.
I'm so scared. Whatever will you do?
Anyway, I'm Light Melody, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Theory.
The game is awakening, and we are looking at good old Gerome.
Why must you ruin my fun?
Because I must. You are just as insane as me, remember?
Huh?
You are talking to yourself? So, I'm your co-host today. This is gonna be so fucking cool!
Moving on, Gerome is the son of Cherche, who is apparently one of the most powerful units, it seems. Her potential romances are Frederick, Virion, Stahl, Vike, Keelum, Donald, Longq, Rickon, Gaius, Gregor, Libra, and Henry. And Dahl, Keelum, Rickon, Gregor, Henry, and Freddy Boy are out since we figured out who they would father already. Junko, stop interrupting me.
And if I don't?
I will make the Shadow Realm a real thing and place you in it with 1,000,000 copies of Naegi.
Fine. I'll play it cool.
So, let's look at the classes first. Cherche and Gerome are both Raven Riders. However, there's similarities end there. Cherche was originally trained as a healer, which is why her next two classes, Cleric and Troubadour, are healer classes. But she is also the strongest defensive healer you can have. Gerome, however, took another path. He is more focused on offense than defense since he has the fighter class above his skills as a priest. So he isn't as good in magic as his mother or Brady.
And here comes the tricky part. Everyone had at least one class in common with them. Virion and Longq are Raven Rider, Vike, Donald, and Gaius are Fighter, and Libra has Priest.
That's right, Junko. So let's try to narrow this down to avoid another Inigo situation.
Hair color?
Well, Gerome shares his color with his mother.
But it's much darker than his mother.
So really, the only hair colors I see making his hair darker are Longq and Donald. That's true, but any of the others could carry a gene for a darker version of his pink, reddish hair. Plus, Gaius has red hair, so it could work just as well.
Okay, how about the way his hair is? It's kind of straight with curled ends.
Cherche's is straight with curled tips.
Okay, how do you know it's not the wind? After all, her artwork has it in the breeze. However, in our sprite and in-game model, it is totally straight.
Okay, so it's straight. Where are you going with this?
Doesn't his hair look familiar?
Familiar?
Uh-huh. Come on, who is it?
Well, it looks like Vike's.
Ding, ding, ding! I say he's Vike's son!
But that's jumping to conclusions. It's not, though. We know Gerome takes pride in his parents. His father died first and then Cherche. And since Vike was part of the Shepherds first, he would totally be in the front lines. So you're saying because he's an experienced fighter before Cherche joined, he would die first, kinda along the lines of Crom and Frederick? And the pride thing fits in how? Well, if you let me explain, he takes pride in his mother, and he shows it by being a Raven Rider and taking care of Minerva. So, to show his pride to his father, he had to go a different route. Therefore, I think his hair is that sign. Only difference is Gerome doesn't need a hairband to keep his hair like that.
That's actually clever.
Huh. Though that doesn't mean I didn't see it too. It's just I didn't want to jump to that fact so fast.
So, let's cut people out.
And you suggest?
Libra for one. I don't see him dying off that easily since he's really good with an axe and a staff.
And he has a focus on magic, so I don't think Gerome would learn from him. But his mother on how to heal others. But Gerome would rather save everyone even if he doesn't show it. I see your point. Anything else?
I don't see it being Virion.
The pairing that probably most people choose because they're from Vom, or because they are always together?
Oh, come on! The coward and the totally hot and strong babe? Nuh-uh. Plus, he only has Raven Rider in common with Gerome. But as his last class, so he doesn't know much, and again, he would have learned it from his mother.
Well, we're down to 4 again.
Down to growth rates?
Normally, yes, but it might turn out horrible considering Cherche's high stats alone.
We'll just tally things up like always.
Let's keep Virion in just because your reason doesn't totally exclude him. So let's start with him. He's higher than Gerome in HP, Strength, Magic, Luck, and Defense. Vike is equal in Resistance, however lower in Magic and higher in Strength, Luck, and Defense. Donald is equal in Magic and higher in HP, Strength, Skill, and Defense. Then we have Long Q, who is lower in Defense and higher in HP and Strength, and Gaius, who is lower in Defense and higher in HP, Strength, and Luck.
Virion has 4.5 tallies, Vike has 4 tallies, Donald has 4 tallies, Long Q has 2.5 tallies, and Gaius has 3 tallies. Well, looks like Long Q and Gaius are out.
Since they are the lowest score, they are, leaving us with Virion, Vike, and Donald.
Is it support time?
Yes, it is. Let us start in the same order I just said their names in. So, Virion, let's see your support with Cherche. See support, which starts with Cherche looking for Virion to train. Virion wanted to wait for Cherche to get her gear, but she already had them with her. And Virion tells some sort of flattery, which Cherche says she's not gonna fall for it, only for Virion to reply with, it's the truth from his heart. To which we learn that Virion says Cherche doesn't have to serve him since he lost his land to Walhart, and Cherche never said she served him because of his title over our land. And Virion jokes if she did it out of love, and Cherche threatens him with Minerva eating him. Really, I wouldn't blame her. B support. Cherche comes upon a troubled Virion who called Cherche fair. She points out no one has ever called her fair and asks if something was wrong again. Asking if he's still upset over Walhart taking over his land, Virion stops her, saying it was a tragic event and to not speak lightly of it. Cherche says it wasn't her intent, apologizes, and says even though many people suffered, he has suffered the most. And those words somehow cheers Virion up, and once again, asks if she's fallen for him. Cherche laughs and says it's been a long time since he's heard her laugh. Which Cherche says she's not kidding, and to leave the past in the past and focus on the future and to promise to not surrender to despair, and he does. And makes Cherche promise in return that if she has to choose between loyalty and a path for herself, to choose which is best. And, you know, she says she would never ever have thought of Virion when making that choice. I like you, Cherche.
Ooh, despair. My favorite word.
Since you love it so much, do the last 2 supports.
Fine. A support. Seems Virion is a little homesick and wonder what's going on back home. Cherche says something along the lines of, the quicker the war ends, then they'll find out. Virion asks what she will do when the war is over, and she says she'll go help rebuild Virion's domain. Such loyalty, gotta admire the girl. I couldn't even be loyal to my own sister. Not that she mattered much.
Oi, stick with the script, you psychopath.
Yeah. And she guessed Virion's plans are the same. He says his people will probably need him, though we pretty much know how that ends.
His entire country claims he's a traitor for leaving them in the middle of a takeover.
Cherche is wondering if he can handle going back with all the bad memories, only for Virion to point out there was good memories. Ew. And many that involved her.
Double ew! And his happiest moments are with her. God, ew! Okay, so, lovey-dovey, are we sure this isn't the S support?
Shadow Realm.
Blah, 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 blah. Cherche says she ain't fallen for his flattery. Virion asks why no one believes him when he's telling the truth, and Cherche says they know each other too well to talk about emotions, which Virion agrees with. Onto the actual S support. This is gonna get so cheesy. So we start with Cherche shooing Virion away, which Virion asks why so soon. Reason being he is falling asleep and she doesn't want to listen to him snoring.
He says he hasn't slept well because his cot is cold and no one to share it with. Ew. But Cherche is like, have you tried seducing a kitchen cook or something? Varian claims he has standards, and Cherche says there's basically plenty of fish in the sea, and someone has to like him.
Varian says there is, and she knows who. Cherche denies it and says they're too close. And Varian confirms it, and they are maybe closer than any other two people. And can't imagine being without her like human without air. And no one compares to her.
Cherche still denies it, and Varian says she would know when he's being sincere. Which leads to him showing her the ring he got her, and it finally gets Cherche to believe how serious he is. And like all S supports, accepts it because someone has to marry the flirtatious, cowardly idiot.
How's that? It's something. Anyway, on to Vike. C support. Seems Vike has gotten hurt and Cherche is fixing him up. And apparently it stings like hell. And the only reason he's hurt is because he tried to fight Minerva with his bare hands. Oh, Vike, why? Cherche starts to say something about if she didn't appear before getting interrupted by Vike. I think might have said something like getting hurt worse or, maybe killed. It is a giant dragon-like creature. But Vike claims he was about to win against Minerva. In reality, he was curled up on the ground. I expected nothing less. Or, actually, was running around like a headless chicken. Which, Vike wonders how long was she watching them. Quickly, Cherche sees another cut and tries to take care of it, and it's another painful sting for Vike. Cherche tells him to not expect her to save him next time he picks a fight with a wyvern or go near the stables, unless he wants to be Minerva's dinner. But we all know Vike never likes losing. B support. Vike is apparently doing something to Minerva, and Cherche catches him. Vike tries to act like he doesn't know that was Minerva, and then says nothing. Apparently, the situation is Minerva is looming over him, drooling. I think Minerva is hungry. Cherche calms her down and says she's playing with him, and hasn't been that excited since hunting a griffin, apparently. Vike then comes up with the saying, mutual respect comes from fighting each other. I kinda understand that, but still, and tries to get Minerva to agree. Cherche asks if Vike has learned to communicate with Minerva, says it's amazing, and Minerva seems to like him too. And she's happy that they are getting along. Vike confirms this more, which leads to Cherche to say to not get too friendly because Minerva is hers. So territorial, Cherche. Vike wouldn't dream of it, and Cherche asks for him to get out of there so she can fix him up again, since it seems he got more scratches by being with Minerva. Vike asks if she's going to use that stingy stuff again, and gets a simple, "We'll see." A support. I guess Cherche gave Vike some Raven Rider lessons, and Vike enjoys it. She's surprised Minerva let Vike on her back and have formed a special bond. Turns out, Vike has been taking care of this giant winged lizard, and Cherche thanks him. And more mushy words are said. Vike even said he thought Minerva was hideous, but then he saw she was more like a cute, adorable puppy.
Cherche says ravens are adorable, and they have been together for more than 10 years. Wow. And Vike is surprised she was hiding her since she was a kid. And asks how he found her. Seems she's wandered into the Wyvern Valley and met her there. Vike is so shocked that she entered there alone as a kid. Cherche wanted an adventure and found the baby wyvern.
Continuing the story, Cherche brought Minerva home. At the time, she was training to be a clerk with a big heavy staff and used it to hit Minerva on the head when she misbehaved. She then became timid like a little bunny, and apparently Cherche rode her to school. That is actually totally fucking cool. And they were inseparable, and Vike compliments on what kind of woman she is, and then something about flattery not working on her, and how Vike is too stupid to come up with anything flirty. As support, Vike goes to see Cherche, and she asks if he's there to see Minerva. Obviously, it's a no, and says that was an excuse for a while just so he could be around Cherche because he likes being around her. Making friends with a dragon to get closer to the girl you like? Weirdo. And Vike claims he wasn't trying to deceive Cherche. He couldn't think of anything else. Typical. And of course, he has something for her, like all S supports, a damn ring.
Cherche asks about Minerva if she marries him, and he says she'll be part of the family too. She asks if he's sure, and after listing all the responsibility, Vike is like, yeah, I'll take care of everything because she means a lot to you. And you know, Vike says he's gonna build a big house after the war. After teasing about another reason, Cherche says she was only joking and only cares if he's nice to Minerva. And, you know, one more asking if she will marry him, and then, yes.
Oh, and something about making Prom jealous or something about marrying the prettiest girl in camp.
And now, finally, Cherche and Donald. C support. Donald comes to Cherche with a question, which is a story about a girl who beat a raven in a fight in Valm, and he asks if it's true. Cherche says she doubts it. Donald says he knew it was just a tale when he heard it. When Cherche asks where he heard it, he said he heard it from a merchant who travels to and from Valm that used to visit his village. It seems he liked the story even if it was exaggerated, but still he explains that it's impossible for a little girl to tame a wyvern. This makes Minerva upset a little, and Donald figures it's something he said. Cherche said it shouldn't bother Minerva before Minerva tries to eat Donald. And as any sensible person, Donald gets out of there quickly. And then Cherche scolds her winged friend. Poor Minerva. B support. Cherche tells Donald she might know who the girl in the story is. Donald questions it since he thought they both agreed it was a fake story. But as from the previous support with Vike, we know this is true because it all happened to Cherche. Donald is surprised that the story was about Cherche when she met the tiny baby Minerva. She just never imagined the story about them would be retold over and over again. Again, Donald says if it's really her, and Cherche asks back if he's disappointed that she wasn't what he expected. But Donald is actually very excited, and he asks if he could hang out with her for a while, and after asking why, he says he figures he could, pick up a few things on being famous, and, the line right after is quite Inigo-like, where he says he could get him girls. Are we sure Donald and Inigo aren't related? Cherche isn't sure and says it depends on Minerva. After Minerva growls in approval, Donald is once again excited. Cherche asks if he minds being around Minerva since they are always together. Donald says he's worked with livestock, so this could be the same experience, or at least get used to it. And now we reach A support. Must you sound like a Southern belle? It's appropriate. Fine. A support. Little Donald has done Cherche's laundry and sewing. Cherche thanks him and asks if he could feed her. He does and talks with Minerva and tells her he can't believe a child tamer. He then leaves Minerva to eat. Cherche arrives and says they have gotten quite friendly. Donald says she is only friendly due to following her orders, and even managed to cook, clean, and sew. But Cherche figures he'd rather hear how she tamed Minerva than all that. Donald's been thinking how she doesn't treat her like a horse, that they are neither master and servant, but old friends, and Donald is a little jealous of it since he never got along with his mule back home. Then he asked Cherche how she got Minerva's trust. Her reply was that she made the same bonds with dear Minerva as the ones that made Donald join the army. And then asked him if he noticed how close she has gotten to Minerva and herself. Donald compliments her on being pretty and how he's just a country boy, then asked if they're friends only for Cherche to confirm it. And then little Donny boy is happy that he's friends with Cherche and her raven. Is support?
Alright, getting bored of the southern drawl. Anyway, looks like Donny Boy is logging something huge. And what is it? It's a giant-ass ring, that's what. Even Cherche's surprised. She asked if Minerva could carry it. And Donny says it's a present for Minerva. A giant ring? How much did that thing even cost? Eventually, he lets it go, and Cherche is still surprised it's a present for her, and Donald says it's to show how close they are as friends.
Cherche is upset because she doesn't get a present. Donald, however, got her a gift too, but it isn't big. A ring. A normal-sized ring. And he's nervous about it. Cherche is just relieved he's not asking Minerva to marry him. Donald gives her the ring and it fits Cherche like a glove. They're both happy, and Cherche said they should spread the joy to more people.
God, that was a lot. So, who wins? Well, in his support with his father, Gerome is actually very stubborn. Sure, it could be an act like Brady, where he doesn't want to show emotions of how he feels towards his parents, or, in this case, his father. If it's stubbornness we are looking at, I lean more towards Vike and Donald. Sure, Virion can be stubborn sometimes, but I feel like his personality molds more towards anything depending on the situation. And I suppose another thing we can look at is Jerome's skin color. Compared to his mother, it looks much darker, or the lighting is just really weird, but I think it's darker than his mother's fair complexion, which is still either Donald or Vike. But in his sprites, it's just as fair as his mother, so that doesn't help. Then again, Gerome is also pretty good with an axe. 2 of his classes do main axes after all. Sure, he could have learned from Cherche, but I think it might be more hereditary. As in, someone in his bloodline is fairly good with axes in combat. Remember, Cherche was originally trained as a healer, and the only other person who is good with axes, off the bat, is Vike. Okay, you can argue with it about Donald, but he is much better with a spear. When you recruit him, he's excellent with it. It even surprises him that he can fight the way he does. But Vike has been training for so much longer that wielding an axe is basically second nature to him, and so it might be something Gerome picked up when trying to defend his home when he got older after his parents died, since they were both off fighting so much. Being the son of a Waven Rider who wields axes and a fighter who primarily deals with axes is a pretty good combination. That it's something that their son would probably pick up pretty easily. So ultimately, I think Jerome's father is Vike. So usually I would bring up the shipyard wheel to tell us which child we are looking at next, but I decided we should go for a different child. And it is none other than Owain. Don't get me wrong, I love the shipyard wheel, but I feel like it's time to take a look at someone with Exalt blood. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this theory. It wasn't really easy. I could have just said, oh, Gerome looks like Vike and be that, but I wanted to go into it with as much reasoning as I can, and I did. I tried the best I could. So if you enjoyed that, I would recommend you check out any of the other theories on my channel, or if you want, you can check out the blind playthrough of Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony that I have on my channel that is completely done, or if you want, you can check out any of the covers that I have done for this channel. If you are looking for something else, however, if you want some background noise for when you're doing work or homework or whatever, you can check out Harmony Net Studios, where the audio series Ties of Fate is home to. And third of all, if you want to support this channel, I have a Patreon. You guys can go check that out. I'm gonna revive it. I swear to God, I'm gonna revive it. I'm just not really good with updating people and social media and stuff like that. I know it's weird to meet someone who's not good with social media, but that is me. I don't like communicating with people much, but I must attempt so. So we'll see you next time when we look at Owain, the master of naming absolutely everything. Bye bye. Bye bye.